just donating another cable to get the cables up against the bracket might be the best.
No, Vapor, I did not catch your question. Are you asking if you can use an adjustable to further tidy up the cables and leave it out? We're checking, and while we're checking, Ann, can we have you turn your HECA back on?
Yep. All right. Bye.
Now, Vapor, question for you. We're discussing if we can bring the cables back with us in the cable bag, but in order to do that, we need to make sure that you can actually reach the mounting bracket oval cutout where they're attached.
I can reach it.
All right, Vapor, then the plan is to release the iROSA cable bundles from the mounting bracket, and we're going to be putting them back in the cable bag.
Okay, copy that. I will put them in work. All right.
And following discussion here on the ground, the team has decided to bring that cable back inside the crew lock bag, inside the airlock today.
And we copy Ann.
I'm on a risk here. Let's see. I've got one. I'm ready to the adjustable that has the done from the mount. Yes. Just talking this out loud, Marco, so you guys can back me up here.
Appreciate it.
The left cable is released from the on the wire ties on both skins. Right.
Good work, Vapor.
Yeah, nicely done. Because do you want me to leave the wire ties on the handrail?
A-firm.
They each have 3 twists on the stanchion.
That's correct, Vapor.
Ta-da. And actually, if you have a free hand, I might ask you to come to the base of the strut and just take these cables off of me. Do what, sorry? And grab these cables from me so I can... Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me come back upward. But I don't want Medusa on me while I'm trying to get that base again. Yeah, for sure. It might be right away. on the way. Hey, Marcos, there is a short wire tie on the pin that's closest to the mounting bracket. Long wire tie just to the top bolt.
And NASA astronaut Anne McClain is making her way over to Nichole Ayers to assist with that cable gathering and putting it in the bag to bring it back into the airlock today.
All right, I'm coming up behind you. Okay. I'm going to try to make real quick and then I'll hit him. Right, I see him.
Also, right above Anne McClain, she is the astronaut with the red stripes. On the left of your screen is that strut bag that will also be going back inside with the duo this afternoon.
Right here. Right, I'm ready to the cable. Okay. They're not the prettiest, but they're. That was a fantastic grab.
And Anne and Vapor, just for your awareness, Vapor, it seems like your safety tether is wrapped around that trunnion pin on the keel. Just for awareness.
Vapor, yeah. I'm going to go back that way.
Copy that.
Thanks for the heads up, Marcus. Yep, and I'll need to get this bag and go before you come around the corner. Okay. It'll take me a little while to get back. So. Yeah, it'll take me a sec to get these cables in the bag. And can you just take a look at my safety tether? I've lost where it is. Yeah, it's coming down your left side and then around the trunnion pin. Okay. So I think if you... Oh, left. Yeah. And I can get better eyes on it in just a sec. I've got it. I'll get it. Got it? That's good. Thank you. Okay, I'm back at the cable bag. I'm going to work on loading these up.
We copy, Anne.
Go the long way around right back to the strip. Okay, I've got the bag right to the cable. Around the tree.
Copy.
And McClain is now working to put those iROSA cables back into the crew lock bag that will go inside the airlock with the duo. You can see that view on the left-hand side of your screen there of Anne McClain's helmet camera.
Seems like it's 3 times more full than when it came out.
Oh, we agree with that, Ann.
So I'm going to have you take a look at mine. All right, I got the bag closed.
Good work, Ann.
All right, got that tied in. Do you have anything to look at? On my right safer handle, I quite feel whether it's down or not. I just want to do a quick check. It is down. Okay, yep. For all that calling around, Marcos, both of my safer handles.
If you're just joining us, we are 4 hours and 54 minutes into today's spacewalk. NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers have worked to build a modification kit that will be used to install an ISS rollout solar array, or iROSA. The duo built and installed the upper triangle on the mass canister and also installed the right lower strut, which is the minimum configuration for the mod kit. Following this, McClain and Ayers relocated a common communication for visiting vehicles antenna, which ensures redundancy for visiting spacecraft to the orbiting lab. The two then completed 2 get-ahead tasks. One was to install a jumper cable to provide power from the P6 truss to the Russian segment of the International Space Station, and another get-ahead to remove bolts from a micrometeoroid cover. Ayers then returned to the modification kit and gathered iROSA cables, which you see on your screen there. NASA astronaut Anne McClain is working to secure them in a crew lock bag. Following this, the duo will gather the strut bag and also bring that back with them to the airlock.
I'll the bag cinched down as much as I can.
Today's spacewalk is the 275th in support of space station maintenance, assemblies, and upgrades, and is the 3rd for McClain and the very 1st for Nichole Ayers.
I've got 4 of the integral AETs connected to the lid and tightened.
Copy that, Ann. We're good with that.
All right, Vapor. I'm going to start moving here. Okay. I fairwayed my tether around the corner of the IEA here, so out of your way. Okay. slow enough that you can go over it. Alright, let me make sure my tethers are heading back in the right direction. Alright, I see yours. Down. Okay, your tether's free.
And as the duo prepares to head back to the airlock, you are getting a view inside the flight control room here at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. This Orbit 2 team is being led by NASA Flight Director Diana Trujillo.
All of the equipment is back into the strut bag. Vapor, that's going on your BRT, and sounds like you have the cable bag on your BRT. Will be translating inboard, and we're going to be...
We are entering a period where we will not have video of the crew for approximately 40 minutes. This is due to a handover period between our satellites.
Your tether's clear, but I'm going to pause here before I take out my green HUD in case I need to come back out. Thank you.
Copy. And Vapor, in case I misspoke, and you have the cable bag. Vapor, you have the strut bag.
Yep, we got him. Thank you.
And also for your awareness, we are going to have a 45-minute KU band handover, so we will lose all video streams in 1 minute.
Copy. Copy. Because for you, I think there's 2 adjustables, 1 cannon connection, and 1 cap for bag, and I'll take 1 cap back with me on my MWS.
Copy, those are all on your MWS.
And at this point, NASA astronaut Ann McClain is working to retrieve the cable, the crew lock bag, and stow it on her body restraint tethers, and then will make her way back to the airlock. Similarly, Nichole Ayers is working to retrieve the strut bag, which she will stow on her body restraint tether before translating back to the airlock as well.
I've got 1 cap on my MWS, and then the 2 adjustables and spool, and the 2nd capper in the back.
And we copy all. Appreciate it, Vapor.
Receiver is on the bag, and I'm 13 now. Will be moved in.
Copy that.
Okay, let me know when you're heading back this way, and I'll continue with my green hook. Okay. You lost some weight. Yeah, good thing. This one gained a little. Working my way back inward. Okay.
Once McClain and Ayers are back inside of the airlock, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and JAXA astronaut Takoya Onishi will continue help, just as was done this morning, to get the airlock repressurized and get the crew out of their spacesuits.
And in Vapor, just let us know once you're inboard of the IEA so we can work some BGA unlatching.
Copy. Okay. See a cable strip bag coming around. Assume you're with it. Damn. Yeah, I'm picking up my green hook. Okay.
And we copy Ann, picking up your green hook.
And my green hook is on my red reel. And Vapor, your tethers are nice and clear as you would expect them to be. Okay. I'm gonna move to inboard. I'm gonna get too far ahead of you. Okay. You have a small fair lead on my handrail down there. But... Sorry? There's a small fair lead on my sticky tether on a handrail. It's not instant. It's outboard of the green. Can you kind of send a whip to it, get out?
At this time, NASA astronauts Ann McClain and Nichole Ayers are making their way back to the airlock. We just surpassed the 5-hour, 6-minute mark of today's spacewalk, which officially began at 8:05 a.m. Eastern. During today's spacewalk, NASA astronauts Ann McClain and Nichole Ayers worked to build a modification kit that will be used to install an ISS rollout solar array, or iROSA, as part of ongoing solar array upgrades. The duo built and installed the upper triangle on the mass canister and also installed the right lower strut, which is the minimum configuration for the modification kit. Following this, McClain and Ayers relocated a common communication for visiting vehicles antenna, which ensures redundancy for visiting spacecraft. The antenna was moved 1.5 feet over, again to provide that redundancy for spacecraft as they visit the orbiting lab. Then 2 get-ahead tasks were completed. One was to install a jumper cable to provide power from the P6 truss to the Russian segment of the space station, and another to remove bolts from a micrometeoroid cover. Following this, Ayers returned to the modification kit location, gathered the iROSA cables, and brought them back in a crew lock bag. And the duo is now translating and making their way back to the airlock as we speak.
My green hook is back on my red reel. Copy. Move inward.
And that sounded like vapor.
That was me. I guess I think you have a head start on keeping our voices apart.
I agree, and I think that high pitch ending for vapor is my key.
Right, I go over the lab. Thinking about ingress vapor, I think almost just reverse of what we did. Like throw the cable bag in, I'll get in, pull get the end of the strut bag in, I can pull it in. Sure. And for your SA, there's going to be 1 ret on the D-ring, and then 1 ret is still on the hand ring. Okay? They're in 2 different spots. Copy.
And in vapor, we can let you know what we thought of, and then you can compare and contrast, and you tell us what might work better.
Take it. I'm on the seat handrail going down.
Copy seat handrail going down. So first, we're thinking that vapor can hand the strut bag to you, Anne, and then you can put that strut bag into the airlock. Then you'll hand off your cable bag to vapor. You'll ingress. Then vapor will give you the cable bag.
I'm thinking through that.
Copy.
So the cable bag, or the strut bag goes first before either of us?
Affirm, that's what we're thinking. So definitely the strut bag first, and then we're thinking put in the bag in before either of you ingress. And we were thinking positioning it along the aft edge and then the starboard edge zenith, so almost like just diagonally.
Okay. And number 1. Yeah, right behind your PG area. Clear? There we go. Yep. what do you prefer, Vic? What do you think? It might be easier to pull the strut bag than push it. I'm really concerned that if it gets stuck on anything, nobody's in there to kind of deconstruct it from. Yeah.
And Ann and Vapor, to be clear, we are okay with Ann, you going in first and pulling the bag in. So if you think that is the best way forward, you have a go.
Okay. The thermal cover is open.
Copy.
Vapor, I think I could get this one in before he comes down. One less thing to worry about. Yep. Okay, so you said that one is right here. And that was the original cable bag. Okay. And from your point of view, left hand, now that's closest to the hatch. Maybe hatch. Okay, that's it.
And we do have about 25 minutes remaining in this handover period between our satellites before we will have visuals of the crew.
I do have a waste feather out there.
However, they are continuing to make their way back to the airlock.
All right, cable bag is secured inside the airlock. My BR2 at back.
Copy.
And I'm grabbing this large hook for the strap bag. All right. And I'm coming back up. I got a little momentum. Sorry, it's right away. All good. Things are the earn of their name is V3. It should be clear now. Okay. All right, there it comes. I'm actually wondering if you could ingress from here. What? If you could just ingress from here, and then I could. Yeah, at least here's for the cable bag. Sorry, strap bag. Here's a D-ring coming your way. Okay, I see the strap bag on this. Okay, strap bag is readied to the airlock. Okay, I'm going to remove my BRT and my RIT. Okay. So I think if I go in, I need to come out and get my waste feather. I can pick it up for you too if you.
And McClain and Nichole Ayers are now back at the airlock and working to get the strut bag inside the airlock portion of the International Space Station. Following this, they will both enter themselves, and repressurization will occur.
The lightning storm below us is so awesome. I just caught that flash. Whew. All right, my right waist tether is on the airlock D-ring extender. Big plug slider lock, black on black.
And we copy Ann.
Okay, Vapor, I'm going to come in and get out of the way here. So, you feed it in. Got it. Oh, yeah, that was easy. Oh, yeah. That was way easier without an upper triangle in it. Yeah. All right, if we can get that back part in. All right, and that'll go high. I'll pull it as close as I can to the IP hatch. All right, and you are there to ingress. I'm going to go high and give you low. Okay. Do you have a good load path? Yes, I have my right waist tether on the airlock D-ring extender. I check black on black. Okay.
And Vapor, seems like you may be already be working it, but from Ann's go, you can attach Ann's anchor hook to your waist tether.
Picking up Ann from the aft seating. It is on my left waist tether. Both gates are closed. They're locked, black on black.
Copy Vapor. With that, you can release your anchor hook from the forward airlock external D-ring. And you can store that on your mini workstation.
Okay.
And Ann, while we're waiting, we'll have you turn off your HECA.
The HECA's coming off. Okay, I'm for ingress forward. Yes, and I am biased high and just forward, so right where I was.
And we copy Vapor, you ingressing. You ingressing.
Sure. And as you get in, try to pull the tethers so they don't go between your leg and then also to get SCU. Alright, let me get more out of your way.
We are now 5 hours and 20 minutes into today's spacewalk. NASA astronauts Ann McClain and Nichole Ayers are back near the airlock and working to ingress or enter back inside of the airlock.
I'll move that. Okay, now you should have seat room. All right, how's that feel? That feels pretty good. Okay, and I'm going to move this guy even more so you can come down when you do the catch. Yeah, I'm going to grab the thermal cover real quick.
And as you two continue to work the ingress, just FYI, just make sure you have access to the SCU.
Copy. All right, your SCU is nice and clear, and you're clear to come back in there. Nice job. Thermal cover is closed. Work on the civil. and my right foot is like stuck on. Yeah, this bag it's actually, I can move it pretty easily, so if you feel something in the hatch, let me know. Okay, should be pretty out of your way, Jeff. I don't know if you got the camera or not, but I did.
Again, the crew of today's spacewalk, NASA astronaut Anne McClain and NASA astronaut Nichole Ayers, are working to ingress or re-enter the airlock ahead of repressurization following today's spacewalk. McClain and Ayers work to build a modification kit that will be used to install an ISS rollout solar array, or iROSA, during a future spacewalk. The duo built and installed the upper triangle on the mass canister and also installed the right lower strut, which is considered the minimum configuration for the mod kit. Following this, McClain and Ayers relocated a common communication for visiting vehicles antenna, ensuring redundancy for visiting spacecraft to the orbiting lab. Then two get-ahead tasks were completed by the duo, one to install a jumper cable to provide power from the P6 truss to the Russian segment of the space station, and another to remove bolts from a micrometeoroid cover. Ayers then returned to the modification kit location in the 2A segment of the International Space Station, gathered the iROSA cables, and brought them back to the airlock in a crew bag, as well as brought in the strut bag with the remaining struts.
You'll remove your DCM cover and you'll connect the SCU and check that it's locked.
EV would work. EV want to work.
We are in a loss of signal period where we do not have visuals of the crew, about 14 minutes remaining in that loss of signal period, but we do have confirmation that the crew is back inside the airlock and the hatch thermal cover is closed. Inside the International Space Station, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Takuya Onishi, will be stepping through procedures to help repressurize the airlock and get the crew out of their spacesuits this afternoon.
SCU to the locked. EV1, SCU connected locked.
Copy, 2 SCUs locked. And we'll have you both take your water switch to off, and it'll be off for 2 minutes, OFF. You'll expect an
H2 water off, OFF.
Copy, expect a
EV1,
message.
water off. Copy, we got the message. And Marcos, while we wait for these couple of minutes, from EV1 and I'd just like to say thanks to my family and friends from Washington to Kansas City, from Naples to LA. So I want to give a huge thanks to all the teams that made today safe and got the mission executed. Our prep team, Judd, Sandy, and Scott. Our execution team, Stephen, Bailey, Lucas, Farouk, Lauren, and the other Sandy. Good mission starts with a good plan. I want to also thank prior crew that have done this strut. Kate, Victor, Aki, Tomas, Ila, Raja, Josh, Frank, Koichi, and Nichole. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and you either with so many lessons from your EVAs learned, put into this one. For our suit IVs, Sakuya and Johnny, absolutely flawless execution. Can't wait to see you in a minute. I hope you put dinner in. To the two voices I've been listening to, Nichole and Marcos, you two are phenomenal. These are two, Nichole Ayers and Marcos Barrios. Remember those names. They're going to be our future giants in this office, and they represent the best of us. And most of all, I want to thank our flight director, Diana Trujillo. Behind every major NASA accomplishment in space is a flight director who holds ultimate responsibility for the planning and safe execution. Diana, EV Day 93 belongs to you. Human spaceflight is absolutely the ultimate achievement of our time, whether you work on the ground or if you fly to space for 6 months or 6 minutes. This incredible legacy is yours. Thank you to everyone. And over to you, Nichole.
Well said, Anne. I mean, I think that with this year being the 25th anniversary of human presence in space, it seems fitting that we're continuing to upgrade the ISS to preserve the lives through 2030. We're honored to be a small part of a much larger team that facilitates the groundbreaking science that we perform here on the national lab that is the International Space Station. What we accomplish and learn here not only furthers our efforts toward the moon and onto Mars, but it informs how we do life on Earth. So huge thank you to the ground team that made this happen. Thank you to our friends and families for supporting us and getting us to this moment.
And in Vapor, we really appreciate those words and really appreciate your calm and effective leadership throughout the entire prep as well as today, and it really showed even here on the ground. And Vapor, wow, what a special moment being able to watch you egress the airlock for the first time. You certainly have all the flies, the office, families, and friends extremely proud of you. So on behalf of the entire team here on the ground, congratulations for a well-executed spacewalk. We're proud of you, and it was an honor to have been able to contribute to the mission today. And with that, the 2 minutes are up, so we're going to check that the EV hatch is closed and locked.
I'll put that to work. All right, let me know how you want me to move. Okay. It does take a little more space on its tracks than you think. Yeah.
And we'll just...
I'm going to get this bag out of your way so your feet can move. Yeah, that'd be awesome. There we go. Now you got the room. Thank you.
And some very special words from NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers as we wrap up today's spacewalk now at the 5-hour and 30-minute mark. The crew is back inside the airlock and is going to work towards repressurization here shortly.
And actually, if you just move it more centered,
I'm sorry?
You just pull it more centered.
Pull it center?
It's actually at the end it's going to go up my end.
Your end needs to go. Okay, good. Let's see, my feet are right above it. Is that helping at all? I know. Let's see. It is definitely here. Do this. Let's put it up right in between us.
Yeah, I agree.
Try to get out of its way here. All right, I've moved. Can you try pushing it over your shoulder? How big is it?
That actually might be okay if you can hold there.
Yes, I can hold it. You have about 2 feet. You can come down from your feet if you need to.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to get this guy out of your way. There we go. Now you got all the room.
Perfect. on the bag again. Up on the bed. Good. It needs to basically go up behind you. That happens. You can also pull individual pieces and out of the way the entire bag, because I think they're laid end to end, which is making it immovable. Able to your right at all? Did that do anything? So that might be okay. There. Okay, I'll try to hold it there.
NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers are back inside the airlock, working to get in a good configuration with the strut bag that is also inside the airlock with them before they can begin the repressurization process.
It's not. Oh, okay. The bag's got to do something. Yeah. We're going to have to move it. So the SC, all right. If there's a way for you to get the bag up to your right side, the high end up with you. That should work. All right, let me see if I can swap places with it. All right, actually, let's try again, pushing it up in between us to the ceiling.
And in Vapor, if you have the bandwidth, if you could kind of give us a high-level summary or description of what's preventing you from closing the hatch.
TV3's strut legs are on the hatch. Okay, let's pause there. I think that's a decent spot. Okay. I can actually pull it a little more even like that. Okay. I did open it up and pull one of the strips. Also.
2 minutes until a teacher's handover.
Yeah. That works. You're coming in broken. I think everything is clear. Nice job. All the tethers clear. Hatches are clear. Okay. They're closing. Copy.
40 seconds till Tidra's handover.
The hatch is closed and locked.
Copy, hatch closed and locked. Really good job. We got a handover and...
And with that call that the hatch has successfully been closed, we will begin repressurization here shortly.
And in vapor comp check, I think we're back with you.
We're back. Hatch is closed and locked.
Copy. Excellent work. We're now going to get into the pre-repress cuff card, and so quickly we'll just check that both of your SEUs are still connected to the DCM.
Vapor. V1, affirmative.
Water switch is still OFF. It's been off for 2 minutes, and that the EV hatch is closed and locked.
Water switch is off, OFF, and locked. EV1, same thing, water switch is off.
Copy, and we're going to have you take the EMU 1 and 2 oxygen valves to open.
Okay, EMU 1 and 2 oxygen are open. That's open.
Copy. We'll take the power switch for EV 1 and 2 on.
Copy and work.
And then you'll be checking that the EV 1 and 2 EMU LEDs are on and that volts are 18 to 19.
Right, EMU 1 is on, LED 18.6. EMU 2 is on, 18.6, good LED.
And we'll have both of you take your power switch to SEU and expect a warning tone.
Right, Vapor, I don't know if I heard you. EV2 has power and SU. Okay, EV1 has power SU.
Copy both powers SEU. And in Vapor, was a pleasure. I'm going to hand you over to TOC.
Marcos. Yeah, thank you, Marcos. Great job today.
Okay, Marcos, we copy that. You guys did a great job today, so have a good rest. And Vapor and welcome back. We are so happy to have you back, and your dinner is ready, so don't worry about it. So for both crew members on DCM, set O2 actuator to press and verify O2 position press displayed.
And that was the voice of JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Takuya Onishi, who is going to be stepping through procedures alongside NASA astronaut Johnny Kim for repressurization.
O2 is in press. EV1, O2 press.
Copy that. Next step is for Vapor. On the crew lock, check EV hatch MPEV is closed.
Hatch MPEV is closed.
Okay.
And this view from inside the International Space Station on your right is JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi, and then on the left is NASA astronaut Johnny Kim. Again, they'll be stepping through the procedures with NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers following their spacewalk today. And repressurization is underway.
Hot for EV2. That's a good rate so far.
Copy that. It's kind of in the middle of off
and with repressurization underway at 1:49 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, that marks our spacewalk a 5-hour and 44-minute spacewalk today.
and on DC.
Again, with repressurization underway, having begun at 1:49 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, today's spacewalk was 5 hours and 44 minutes. Pressure inside the airlock at 2.3 pounds per square inch and rising.
5.0, we will close the IV hatch equalization valve for a leak check, so please let us know when it gets to 5.0.
Copy, Wilco, 0.3 and climbing. the 4.0 and alert zone. Thanks.
And this view from inside the equipment airlock of the International Space Station. JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi on the left and NASA astronaut Johnny Kim on the right. Pressure inside the crew lock, where NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers are currently located, continues to rise, now at 5 pounds per square inch.
Now, IV hatch equalization valve is now closed off. So we wait here for 2 minutes for crew lock pressure to stabilize. Then we'll do a 1 minute speed check.
Yep.
And with this 5 hour and 44 minute spacewalk wrapping up, we do have some updated stats for you. Today was the 275th spacewalk in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades, the third spacewalk out of station this year, and the first for Expedition 73. This was the third spacewalk for McClain's career. She now has a total spacewalking time of 18 hours and 52 minutes. Of course, for Nichole, her first spacewalk, 5 hours and 44 minutes. In total, 72 days, 12 hours and 23 minutes of spacewalking time has been recorded over the past 25 years of the International Space Station. During today's spacewalk, NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers worked to build a modification kit that will be used to install an ISS rollout solar array, or iROSA, during a future spacewalk. The duo built and installed the upper triangle on the mass canister and also installed the right lower strut, which is the minimum configuration for the modification kit. Following this, McClain and Ayers relocated a common communication for visiting vehicles antenna to ensure redundancy for visiting spacecraft. The two then got 2 get-ahead tasks complete. One was to install a jumper cable to provide power from the P6 truss to the Russian segment of the space station, and another was to remove bolts from a micrometeoroid cover. The duo then returned to the airlock and are in the process of repressurization now. We're holding at 5 pounds per square inch to perform a leak check. Once everything checks out as expected, repressurization will continue. Again, we are looking for a repressurization of 14.5 pounds per square inch to be the equivalent of the pressure inside the International Space Station.
It's an airlock on space ground 1. So P1 pressure is 260.03 and P2 the same. So we have a good leak check.
We concur. Good leak check.
And with that confirmation that the leak check was good and as expected, repressurization will continue.
Two blood feeders are off, OSS. EV1 off.
For both members, check gloves for contamination and report back to Houston.
For EV2, change to the gloves, just the EA smudges. V1, no contamination.
See that? There is a warning about DCS, but I'm going to skip it. So for both EV crew members on DCM, set auto actuator to IV.
EV2, IV. EV1, IV.
Next step is for IV crew. IV adds equalization valve to normal. We will gradually open the valve.
After that, copy.
And repressurization has resumed. Pressure now at 6 pounds per square inch inside of the crew airlock and continuing to rise. Expecting equalization between the crew lock and the airlock in about 9 minutes from now.
Airlock Houston on space to ground 1. Just letting you request if we can take a look at Nichole's mic booms when you put her on the ETA, just to give us a data point on the comms today.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
We would like you to take a look and report back on the placement of Vapor's mic booms, just so we have a data point on why some of the comm was cutting in and out.
Copy that. We will make sure to take a note before we remove the helmet.
That'd be great, and if you could take a photo, we'll give you bonus points.
Copy that.
And if you're just joining us, we are wrapping up a spacewalk that lasted 5 hours and 44 minutes today, where NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nichole Ayers worked on space station maintenance and upgrades. During today's spacewalk, McClain and Ayers worked to build a modification kit that will be used to install an ISS rollout solar array during a future spacewalk. They also worked to relocate a common communication for visiting vehicles antenna to ensure redundancy for visiting spacecraft. Additionally, the duo completed 2 get-ahead tasks, one to install a jumper cable to provide power from the P6 truss to the Russian segment of the space station, and another to remove bolts from a micrometeoroid cover. The duo is back in the airlock and repressurization is continuing as expected, now at 8.5 pounds per square inch of pressure. This view from inside the equipment airlock is showing JAXA, or Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Takuya Onishi, as well as NASA astronaut Johnny Kim on the right, as they step through those repressurization procedures ahead of opening up the crew lock once pressure is equalized. Now approaching 10 pounds per square inch of pressure. Again, we're looking for a pressure of about 14.5 pounds per square inch. And you are getting a great view here on your screen of the antenna that was relocated, the Common Communications for Visiting Vehicles antenna that Ayers and McClain worked to relocate 1.5 feet to ensure better redundancy for visiting spacecraft to the International Space Station. The International Space Station is currently flying 260 statute miles over the North Pacific Ocean, approaching the coast of Hawaii. Back inside the airlock, pressure is at 11.5 pounds per square inch, continuing to rise as expected. Pressure now at 12.2 pounds per square inch, closing in on our 14.5 pounds per square inch target. We're now at 13 pounds of pressure inside the crew lock portion of the International Space Station.
We are getting close to the nominal pressure, and when the dPdt becomes nearly zero, you guys expect alert tone.
You can copy. Copy.
Once equalization complete, we will open the hatch and perform safer docking and suit docking.
Sounds great. EV1 copy.
And as you heard there, once pressure is equal between the crew lock and the equipment lock, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi will work to open up the hatches between the crew lock and the equipment airlock, at which point they will assist NASA astronauts and McClain and Nichole Ayers back into the equipment lock portion of the International Space Station. Pressure now at 13.9 pounds per square inch. Getting very close to equalization now at 14.1 pounds per square inch.